And now, our feature presentation.
All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another Beta Alpha Psi meeting. Today, we have Amy Korner from KPMG to come and speak to us today. They're one of the big four accounting firms in the world. So again, please have your undivided attention. If you're on Zoom, please mute yourself. And again, let's ask a lot of questions, make this engaging as possible. And Amy, I'll let you take it away from here.
Cool. Awesome. All right. So I have a presentation, so I'm going to share. Hopefully I can. Sometimes my computer
You
hates.
should be able to share screen.
Yeah, it should work. Okay. All right. Is it up?
Not yet.
Not yet.
Yeah. All right. Let me try again. Zoom is weird on our laptops. We use Microsoft Teams for everything. So Zoom is always, I always have an update or like something going on. There we go.
Yes, we can see it now.
There
Great.
Cool. Perfect. All right, awesome. Well, I do have a check-in link on the screen there. So if you're in the audience, you're able to scan it. You want to check in with KPMG after the session. Everybody that checks in with this link, I usually just send an email with links to our website, resources that we have, all kinds of good stuff there. So if you're interested in that, feel free to scan that code and check in. I will also throw, let me just find the chat. There we go. I'll throw the link for that check-in in the chat as well. You guys can copy that over as well and like send it if you need to, whatever you need to do. I always like to give both. But yeah, you can either click that or scan it. I'll have it up again towards the end. So I'll just go ahead and get started. So hi, everyone. As I was introduced, my name is Amy. I am the university recruiter for KPMG in New Jersey. So I do recruit specifically on campus for 5 schools, 5 campuses. So I recruit specifically at Rutgers, Newark and New Brunswick, Seton Hall, Montclair State, Rider. So I'm at any given time at any of those 5 campuses. But I'm happy to be here with you all today. I know, we're here virtually, but hopefully you still get a lot of good info here that will be helpful for you all. I know I'm not on campus at your school, but the BAP reached out and I, wanted to help. So I'm happy to be here. And you can feel free to reach out to me if you do ever have questions about KPMG, about New Jersey. I'm happy to help. Like I said, I'm not on campus at FDU, but I'm still around, still happy to help. So feel free to reach out if you would like to. You'll get my email also by checking in with the check-in link. When I send out the email after, it'll come from my email address. So feel free to reach out. On here, I do also have my pronouns. They're she, her, hers. And I am also one of our co-leads for our New Jersey Pride organization. I will talk more about these organizations later, but they're kind of our like diversity initiatives, kind of like our clubs at KPMG. And there are different ways that you can kind of get involved outside of your specific, your job description, your everyday job and what you do, kind of different things that you can get involved with. So I'll talk more about what that is and what we do and what the different groups are and like all that good stuff a little bit later, but that's just me. So we'll talk through, I'll go over just kind of an intro to KPMG. I'm sure a lot of you have heard of us before, especially if you are like an accounting or business major, but also give an overview of KPMG, talk about our values. They're really core and foundational to who we are as a company. So I am more than happy. I always like to talk through that because I think that they are really important. And honestly, you should always find a company that aligns with your own values. So I'll talk through that. And then after going through all that stuff, our different practices, I do have Lauren and Bart on here. They are both FDU alums. So they are here and happy to talk to you all about their experiences, coming from FDU, coming into KPMG. And then I would love to have some Q&A towards the end. So I'm going to try and go through my slides to leave a good amount of room for talking with Lauren and Bart. Because I think that's often the most interesting. It's just to hear real stories from people. So definitely want to leave that open time at the end. So have questions, come and ask them. We're happy to talk about them. All right. So starting to talk about KPMG in general. So here are some numbers. Statistics are statistics. Sometimes they're interesting, sometimes they're boring, but hey, this is some of our numbers from FY23. Our FY24 year actually ends at the end of this month, so we're getting close to being able to update some of these, but these are from last fiscal year. And this is KPMG around the globe. So as was mentioned before, we are a global company. We are a 36+ billion company around the globe. We do service over 84% of our clients are Fortune 500 clients. We're in over 140 countries, 700+ offices, over 270,000 professionals. And all of this to me just means opportunity. So that's what I like to look at from this slide. You never get quizzed on like, oh, what percentage are Fortune 500, clients or whatever. But looking at this, it just really paints that picture of like, wow, there's so much that we do around the country, around the globe. That means opportunity for you, right? That means opportunity for our employees, our partners, everybody who works at the firm, different things that you can get involved with, industries that you can work in. That's a big one too. I mean, different areas in, even just in the country, like different areas of the country, there's a lot of different industries that our clients are. Those can change a lot geographically, and there's a lot of rotational opportunities in, say, other countries. I know an audit associate that has been with the firm for a bit over 2 years now, and he just did a 6-month rotation in India working with our offshore teams. So just really interesting things and opportunities that you can get working at a really big global firm. And that's really what I take away from this slide. And then, like I said, talking about our values. So KPMG values are simple. They're just integrity, excellence, courage, together, and for better. And these values are, I like to mention them. I like to talk about them. It sounds kind of corny sometimes, I think. But they're really foundational to who we are as a firm, how we work with each other, how we give back to communities around us, how we work with our clients, all of that good stuff all comes from these values, right? So we have integrity, just always doing what's right, no matter what the situation is. We have different ways that you can speak up if you see something that isn't right, making sure that you have the integrity to speak up, whether it's because of something you saw with a client or something you saw with a team member, really whatever it might be, but having integrity and courage to speak up, act boldly, be innovators in your field. All that good stuff kind of comes from integrity and courage. Then excellence, together, and for better are values that I will kind of dive a little bit deeper into. Integrity, courage is very like personal. It's, how you carry yourself, how you, work every day and, stand up for what's right and all that. Excellence, together, and for better, I think are the values that are really foundational to how we actually experience the firm every single day. So I'll go a little deeper into that, but just as an overview for excellence, never stop learning and improving, right? Like it says on the slide, a lot of that comes from training. And I will talk more about our commitment to training. We always want our professionals to have all the resources and everything that they need to succeed, whether they are an intern or whether they come in as a managing director. Doesn't matter, all of our professionals will get the resources and training that they need. So we'll talk more about what that kind of looks like, because there's a lot of different ways that we get training as well. Excuse me. And then together and for better, these are kind of the beyond the job foundational, well, not really beyond the job for together, I guess, because that is really respecting each other. Everybody that we work with, we respect, we know that diversity is really important, and we love to have diverse teams, knowing that different backgrounds really are what make innovation possible. And that is really, really important. That's part of that together. And that's also part of some of those organizations that I'm going to talk about, those different diversity orgs, extra things that you can get involved with beyond your day-to-day job. And then for better is kind of looking beyond. It's looking beyond KPMG. It's looking beyond ourselves and looking at the communities, whether it's larger nationally. We do have a lot of national initiatives that happen throughout the year for big like nonprofits and things. But then you can get involved to give back to local communities as well. So we'll definitely talk through a bunch of examples of that. So this is kind of part of that together. So these are the groups, those organizations. So BRGs and inclusion councils. BRG stands for Business Resource Group. And these are those different clubs, as I always kind of call them, at KPMG. And they're totally optional to be a part of, but they represent all the different backgrounds that we have at KPMG. And you can join any of these, whether you're a member of the community or if you're an ally, you can join any of these organizations. I personally am actually a member of all of them. So you see, we do have Abilities in Motion. That one is really like supporting our employees, our colleagues with disabilities. Our African Ancestry BRG, Asian Pacific Islander, Somos is our like Latina Hispanic BRG, KPMG Network of Women, Pride, and then our veterans. We do also have a couple more that actually aren't reflected on this slide that just got established within the last, honestly, within the last few months, I feel like definitely within the last year. But we do have an interfaith BRG now as well. And then there is also like a European BRG also. So really cool. I mean, they're continuously, you know, looking at what the backgrounds of KPMGers looks like. You know, how can we show up for each other? What are different groups that exist within KPMG? And it's called it's called self-IDing. And self-IDing, you can just tell the firm what your background is, and then they know who's here. And by knowing that, we know what kind of groups we should have and what kind of groups can be established. So it's constantly growing, constantly kind of changing. But as of FY23, we had, you know, over 15,000 partners and employees that are members of these BRGs. This is probably US statistics. There are BRGs around the country, or around the globe, excuse me, which is cool, because if you are a member of any of them, you can choose to be in contact with the ones from around the globe as well. I am in our global Pride like Teams chats and things, so it's cool because I see Pride events that happen throughout the year all over the world, which is super, super cool. But as I mentioned before, I'm the most involved with the Pride BRG. So I am one of our co-leads in Short Hills. So that's where we're based out of, Short Hills, New Jersey. I am one of our co-leads. I am a co-lead in Short Hills with my other co-lead's name is James. And between the two of us, we help run Pride events. We also work with our Montvale office. We have a second office in Montvale. That is all like internal operations. So our Short Hills office is really where like our client-facing practices are, audit, tax, advisory. But we have a lot of back office, internal ops, you know, different tax teams and things over in Montvale. We work with them as well, kind of as one big New Jersey chapter. And we will run events throughout the year for different months, different special days. June is when we are the most active, as you might imagine, being Pride Month. Definitely when we are the most active as a BRG, but we are active all year long. We do events for different days of visibilities. If you are a member or familiar, an ally to the LGBTQIA plus community, then you know there's a lot of different days of visibilities throughout the year. So we always do some kind of posts or events. In October, we try to do a coming out day panel where we talk through different, you know, coming out day stories of professionals, and everybody that's a member can come and join those. Again, as a member of the community or as an ally. And that's the same for all of these. So our African Ancestry BRG, they're very active during Black History Month in February. I was really lucky. I got to attend like some of their national events, some of their local events in February. And just to be able to join those and just learn something new is really awesome. And it helps kind of shape you and also allows you to meet a lot of other people. I'm very involved with like, I'm very connected with the Somos BRG as well. And I'd say that I've gained a lot of friends just by being involved with both. Even though I'm not a member of those communities, right? I'm definitely an ally to those communities. So all of this is just different things that you can be a part of at KPMG that are, again, beyond that job, beyond that, you know, day-to-day job description. And you get to just expand your network, meet people you never would have before. My co-lead in for Pride is a manager in one of like our tech advisory teams. I never would have met him before. But now we're pretty good friends. You know, we talk very regularly, see each other at the office. It's really great. It's just a great way to get involved and really feel that together value that is really foundational to KPMG as a whole. These groups also do a lot of community service, giving back to communities. We just recently got a $2,500 donation set up for BCLA, which is the Bergen County LGBTQIA Alliance. We do also donate Montclair Pride, and we donate to Out Montclair for Montclair Pride as a gold sponsor every year in June as well. And then there's just a lot of other things that can go on throughout the year that you can totally be a part of, giving back to communities in the local communities as well. There we go. Oh, yes, this slide likes to freeze. I'm not sure if you'll be able to hear the music or not. Probably not. But that's okay. You don't need the music. So this is our KPMG Community Impact Day. And the nice together for better at the end there. So there was no spoken audio in that video, so if you didn't hear it, that's totally fine. It was just some music. But that is a video just spotlighting our Community Impact Day. That video was specifically from 2023. I'm not sure if they've made one yet from 2024. But what this is every year, KPMG throughout all of the US is encouraged one day a year. It's usually the first like Tuesday of August. This year it was on August 6th, I believe, 2024. We are encouraged, all KPMGers from throughout the country are encouraged to get together, give back to local communities. Every office will put together Community Impact Day events so that you can sign up for any of those that are going on. This year in Short Hills, I know we put together books for donation for local elementary schools. They did actually plant trees, I believe, in a reservation near the Short Hills office. I myself was lucky to be able to actually host one of the Community Impact Day events this year, which is just another cool opportunity that I've been able to have. Like, again, the more you get involved, the more people will just ask you if you want to do stuff. It was just pretty cool. That I ran like a park cleanup, a local park. We went and we packed like 15 bags worth of trash. We found the most random stuff in that park. But we cleaned up that park, me and about 25 other professionals. And there were, they did painting stars for hope and just a bunch of different things going on at our office alone, but offices from throughout the country came together on August 6th to give back to communities as a part of our annual Community Impact Day. I believe this was our 3rd annual Community Impact Day. So it's been really cool. And we will continue to do this every year. Every office will have a bunch of activities that we all are encouraged to not work that day and to volunteer. Because again, really that for better value, giving back to communities and stuff is just really important to us as a firm. We know that the world is bigger than us and we have a lot of resources that we can use, both people and otherwise monetary, whatever it might be, to give back. So that's a really cool thing to be a part of. All right, now training and development. So this is kind of part of the excellence value. So as I mentioned before, training is really important, making sure that all KPMGers throughout the world, throughout the country have access to training, to ways to develop throughout their career, right? And everybody has clear paths to those training resources. So there's different ways that we do get training. We also were in 2023 ranked #1 on the Chief Learning Officer magazine for Organization of the Year for training, because it is so robust and so important. This is the what you're doing on the job thing. All the other stuff is really great. It's awesome to be involved with all the extracurricular stuff, but you need to have the resources to do your job well as well. And this is totally a part of that. So we do have, I'll talk kind of internship wise, because I know a lot of you might be looking for internships soon. But internship wise, all of our interns within the first 2 weeks of the internship, we fly you down to our training facility called KPMG Lake House. You go for, usually it's like 3 or 4 days, I think. And you go and you get hands-on training in our national training facility, which is in Orlando. Get the chance to meet interns from around the country, which is really cool. I started my career in audit, actually. I have an accounting degree from Rutgers, Newark. And my national intern training, I met people that I, again, never would have met before, but made really good connections and still keep in touch with some of those people that I met, even though they do not live in this area at all. They live somewhere else in the country. But it's just cool. It's a chance to meet people from around the country, make new connections and all of that, and then get whatever resources, the training that you need to be successful in your internship. Now that continues throughout your career at KPMG as well. So that hands-on Lake House Orlando training, you, as soon as you come in as a first-year associate, you also will go down for first-year training. Second-year associate will go down pretty much annually, or at least they try at least once a year to get everybody down for training. And it's a really good way to just learn like the new skills that you need to go into kind of your new year, whatever your promotion is that year, to continue evolving and growing in your career and moving forward in your career as well. Beyond the in-person training at Lake House, we also have virtual training constantly. There's always like ethics trainings and things like that for personal development and all of that. And then there's also training for, if a new tax code comes out or something like that, right? They're going to create training for that as well. And you're kind of constantly keeping up with your continuing professional education credits and continuously having access to training resources. Even if you're not in person, you can always do them virtually. I myself take a lot of additional trainings, like kind of if I have downtime, which feels less and less as time goes, but if I do have downtime and I want to just like learn about something new, I take a lot of trainings. I did one that was just like using appropriate pronouns at work, or how to be a better ally and colleague to your disabled colleagues and things like that. So we have a lot of trainings like that as well, where you can just learn about all that other stuff and how to be a good leader and all of those kind of things we have trainings for. And then it continues every day. I mean, you're learning and developing every single day on the job. You learn something new, and you'll learn straight from your teams as well. Just is completely continuous. And KPMG Lake House, this slide is just like a flex on KPMG Lake House because it is a super cool facility. It did open. It actually opened in like January or February of 2020 and then immediately shut down. But now it's all, back up and running. But they opened this space. It is completely only KPMG, this entire building. There's 800 single occupancy rooms right on the campus. So when you do go down, you aren't staying at a hotel nearby and taking shuttles. You're right there, right in the building with everybody, and all you have to do is kind of get up and go to your classes, and there's food everywhere. There's different amenities as well for any time you have downtime while you're at Lake House, which you usually will have some downtime. We have a fitness facility. They just opened mini golf in the back and like pickleball courts and stuff, so they're constantly adding new things to KPMG Lake House as well. But I think everybody will pretty much tell you that the food is like the best thing there. Everything is free. There's a free Starbucks inside the building as well. Everything is free. It's all covered by KPMG. It's a really cool opportunity to go and kind of see what KPMG culture looks like when it's all thrown into one building. So that's really awesome. And then for you as students, you would go if you did get an internship offer from us, you were to accept it, you will go, whether it's a winter internship or a summer internship. You would get the chance to go to KPMG Lake House. But this semester, and for the past few semesters, we've been doing it as well, where if you do get an offer from us, you will be invited to come to KPMG Lake House this semester as well, for a KPMG student event where you can come and kind of see the cultural home and all of that. So that we hope that you come and join us. Come and join us for your internship that you have an offer for. But that's kind of an extra little perk if you are looking to apply this semester. All right. And then a real quick overview here. Like I said, I want to go into panel. I want to go into questions and hearing what anybody has to say, and hearing from Lauren and Bart. But real quick snapshot of our practices. As I mentioned before, our practices are audit, tax, and advisory. In New Jersey, we are based out of Short Hills for those client services. We do have offices in almost every state in the US. You are welcome to apply anywhere. We have open applications. Years and years and years ago, it wasn't that way. Like certain schools could only apply to certain offices. I think it was not like an open application. Now it is. So if you are interested in other parts of the country, or like you go to school here, but you don't live here, you are welcome to apply anywhere. And yeah, the different practices are at pretty much all of our offices as well. Usually are split just generally of the different offices, or in the US from the different practices is 30% audit, 30% tax, 40% advisory. That's just the split generally of, give or take some of the professionals that work in those different practices. But all the practices really work together. If you're in audit, you might lean on our tax teams to help with the tax portion of audits. We have a tech audit practice that really helps with technology aspects of the audit, and things like that. So all the practices are really different, really interconnected, and you can learn more about each. Like I'll give you a bit of an overview, but I can't really walk through every single thing that lies under each practice, because honestly, they're vast. There's a lot that goes on, and year to year it might change who they're hiring, what students they're looking for. All that might change year to year. But generally in audit, we are looking for our core audit practice. We're looking for accounting majors, core audit, financial statement audit, really looking at clients' financial statements. Are they misstated, or are they, fairly presented with accounting principles, all that good stuff. We do also, like I said, have a technology assurance practice under audit. That is more of a tech audit. They do look for students with IT backgrounds. So if you do have IT information systems, accounting information systems, if you have a double major in like accounting and IT, technology assurance is like a perfect practice for that background. But that is really more on that technology side of the audit. Our core audit teams lean into our tech assurance teams, and they really help with that technological side of the audit. And then tax, I always like to show this slide because, and I say it every single time, when I was an intern and even a first year associate in a core audit practice, I literally thought we had one tax practice and they did tax returns. I didn't know that there was so many more. So I really like this slide because it just shows that there are a lot of different things under our tax practice. We do have business tax services, which you see on one of the gears here. That is the core tax practice. They look for accounting majors as well. They will do tax returns, but they're working with multiple different clients. They work really together with teams. I think one of the misconceptions about tax is that you like go and work by yourself all the time. That's not true. You work with a team every single day in tax. They actually work together a lot, and they also work with each other a lot. A lot of the different tax practices all kind of work together, and that's kind of this symbolization of the gears here, is that they really all work together to help clients with whatever might be going on. But there's also mergers and acquisitions tax, international tax, economic valuation services tax. that practice looks for econ and finance majors. So even if you're not an accounting major, there might be a tax practice that aligns with your background. Global mobility services, they hire students from all kinds of different backgrounds, like accounting, finance, business admin, really just all over the place. They look for a lot of different backgrounds because they help clients with a lot of different things, and global issues as well. A lot of it has to do with helping them with their like global mobile workforce, things like that. So they look for students from a lot of different backgrounds. State and local tax, and then in the middle, there's a few other ones listed there. I like to highlight ignition tax because here we are very close to one of our 4 ignition centers in the US. We only have 4 offices that actually have an ignition tax practice, but one of them is New York City. So we are very close to that. That is heavy in like data analytics and things like that. So if that's something you're into, if that's your background, that could be something that you might be interested in. But all this to say, there's a lot under there. And when you're a student, I think it's really easy to kind of like pigeonhole yourself and think that you're, only eligible for this one thing, or, if you're whatever major, then you can't look at KPMG or whatever. But the reality is that there's a lot of different things that we could be hiring for a lot of different practices and majors that we might be looking for. Again, changes year to year. So you never know what you might find. All right. And then a quick note about advisory. Advisory is pretty much everything else. Our consulting, our deal advisory strategy. There's about 1 million different subsections of advisory, but it's really helping clients with anything else they might need, especially in like a consulting lens. But I'll talk more at the end about like how you find the applications, timelines, all of that. But we'll go into the panel first. So I know I saw Lauren and Bart on, so I will let y'all introduce yourself. I'll let you introduce yourselves. Lauren, I see you first, so I'm just gonna have you introduce yourself first.
Hi, everyone. My name is Lauren, and I'm currently an audit associate in financial services, more specifically asset management.
Hello, everyone. My name is Bart. I'm a second-year audit associate, also out of the financial services asset management side.
Oh, awesome. All right. So we're just going to jump right in then. So basically just want to know a little bit more about your backgrounds and what you like do in your day-to-day jobs. So one of the number one questions I probably get when I'm on campus, or professionals get when we're on campus. It's just like, what do you actually do day to day? What does it look like? How do you work with your teams? Things like that.
Art, do you want to go first, or do you want me to go?
Yeah, I can go. So I graduated from FDU in the fall of 2022. I interned between my +1 year in winter of 2022. So that was my first business experience. Now my day-to-day activities consist of being the main point of contact between clients, admins, different specialists. I also oversee more junior staff, our offshore resources, and do like first level review before it goes on for our next level.
So my day-to-day basically is just I usually have calls with my managers or my seniors, and they'll give me like a list of things to do. I started last October, so I'm still kind of new. So I often sit on calls with them, and they show me what I'm supposed to do and go over any questions with me.
Cool. Yeah, definitely in that first year, it's a lot of kind of getting delegated things and then working, usually like you have a senior associate or somebody who works with you directly to kind of show you what that task looks like, give you an example of it, and then you can kind of like go from there. Cool. And also another highly asked question on campus for me is what brought you, like, why did you choose KPMG, right? There's Big Four. We never talk bad about the other Big Four, so we're not talking specifically about, why you might not have chosen the other ones, but, why did you choose KPMG over them? You ended up here.
The biggest draw for me was that opportunity, the global opportunities with the firm. As Amy mentioned earlier, the rotation opportunities, even if it's a short term, like 3 months with different group or like long-term rotation with a completely different country. That was very appealing to me. But after I completed my internship, I really liked the people, the culture in the company, and really enjoyed it.
Yeah, for me, similar to Bar, I interned in the summer and then I realized that I really enjoyed the people, the culture, the community involvement. Like we have the community impact day that Amy talked about before, and there's also so many other opportunities to do community service and just give back. And I also like how KPMG assigns you buddies and transitional coaches. I just think it's nice to have someone there to answer all your questions and be there for you because starting a new job or an internship can be nerve-wracking. So it's just nice to have someone there for you.
Yeah, and that's a good point, Lauren. I kind of forgot to talk about that before. Mentorship in the firm is also really important. And what Lauren was kind of mentioning there is that everybody who comes into the firm, again, no matter what level you come in as an intern, as a first year associate, whatever it is, you are assigned a PML or a people management leader. And they're essentially kind of like your career advisor is like what I kind of equate them to, or kind of describe them as. They are the person that you go to. They're usually like a bit higher up, maybe like a senior manager or somebody higher, right? And they are there to help you with like expectation setting, goals, talking about like if you are, like Bart said, if you are interested in global opportunities or like rotational opportunities or something, you can talk to your PML about that, to make sure if they ever hear of something, they can let you know, or, kind of be there to be your advocate. And everybody gets one of those. My PML was so helpful in when I did my rotation in recruiting and eventually transferred full time from audit. But my audit PML was so helpful in that. Like she had reached out to the recruiting team, let them know that I was interested. So next time there was an opening, like they let me know so I could apply and like all of that. So they're really there to help you with all those career aspirations, even getting you on clients you want to try or work on, industries, things like that. And then your transitional coach is somebody who is like closer to your level. So usually as an intern, your transitional coach might be a first year associate or a second year associate. As a first year, it's probably a second year associate. And they're kind of there for anything else, like all the like day-to-day questions, right? I don't want to ask a senior manager how to access my timesheet, but my transitional coach can help me with that. And they're really there for any of those other little things. So that support system is something that you walk in the door with. And those relationships are really what you make them. You can, even if you start to have a good working relationship with somebody else, you can even put them in as another mentor in our system. So even if you find your own mentor, you can kind of put that in and have it recognized by KPMG. And I'm not sure if they started it again or if it's still paused, but at one point we did also have like mentor, like dinner allowances, like once a quarter you could go out to dinner with your mentees or something like that. So it's cool. There's different opportunities and different resources. Again, all of that support for when you walk in the door. Oh, thanks for mentioning that, Lauren, because that is a really important part of it.
Even before you start too, like I know I got a buddy and I'm also Gloria's buddy. So it's also nice because then you get to learn more and ask whatever questions you need.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, always connecting, like, because we just know, like, when you come into something new, like, you're gonna have 1,000 questions. You're not gonna know what you're doing, and that is okay. We want you to have the support system to like figure it out. So awesome. All right. So I know you both mentioned that you did intern. So can you talk more about your specific internship experience? Maybe things that you did, if you did go to national intern training. I was mentioning that at Lake House, how that was, how that experience was. And then anything else, like different client experiences that you might have had, whatever experience you had during that internship.
So my intern year actually didn't end up going to Lake House because it was still COVID, so
Okay,
it was still
yeah.
shut down. We were actually scheduled to go, but then like a week before we were supposed to depart, they canceled the program. So
Ah,
my intern training was unfortunately virtual, but still it was very valuable. They do throw a lot at you, and it's really hard to grasp all of it. But the thing is, you don't really need to get everything all at once. And it's okay to have questions. It's okay to not know something. You're never alone, basically. Like if you have questions, you can always reach out to anyone, and they will gladly help you out.
yeah.
I interned in summer of 2022, so I did get to go to Lake House. I actually was able to go twice. The first time was for the intern training, and yeah, there's a lot of information that you learn, but it all makes sense once you put it into, like, you actually start using all the different softwares and getting tasks to do. And I was able to meet like a whole bunch of people that I'm still in contact with today, so that was also cool. And then the second time I went was for like a presentation. I was able to present in front of a bunch of different partners with different interns from around the US. So that was also pretty cool.
Oh, that's cool. And then when it came to kind of your I guess like client experience, like work experience in the internship, like what did that look like as well? Because you know everybody goes down to the training and that gives you the resources you need. But then what does it actually look like? You know, did you work on different clients throughout your internship? Were your teams like bigger or smaller? Kind of what did that look like?
The one good thing about asset management is that there's only a certain amount of big clients, and the rest is like pretty small clients. So even during your internship, I was working on 2 or 3 different clients. So it's nice to see like different perspectives, like working with different teams, being able to um, see as much as you can, basically, whether it's with a hedge fund client or a private equity client. Um, they may seem similar, but they're not, and it's good to have the ability during your internship to experience it all, basically.
So I was on, I think, only 2 different engagements throughout my internship, and it was split half and half. There wasn't too much work to do because it was the summer. So my one manager had me help out on a couple of his other clients, but one was big, was a big engagement, and the other one was kind of like a medium sized, and I'm still working on them today. So interning was like a good introduction to the 2 engagements. And it's nice being able to work with the same managers.
Yeah, that's cool. And that's something that you can like, you can even request that, right? Coming out of the internship. If you're interested coming out of your internship, like you really enjoyed that team, like you can request if you come back to like be put on that team again, which is definitely cool. And then I think the big thing there is that I often get asked from students, right? Like, do you actually do work or do you see client stuff on the like during the internship, or is it more of like a shadowing experience or something? You do look and watch what other people do and listen to conversations going on in the room and you know all that good stuff. But the fact that our interns are treated like first year associates basically, so we are not asking you to you know make copies or run and get coffee or something like that. You are really put into an engagement team, and it is real experience. So that's something for sure, if that is really interesting to you to get what real work experience. And I'll say too, like our winter internship program is like especially so. So Lauren mentioned like the summer's a little bit slower. So sometimes when you are interning in the summer, sometimes you do help out with like work between different clients wherever it's needed. But in the winter, it is our busy season, especially for audit. But it's our busy season, so our client or our clients have work, the teams are busy. So our winter internships for sure get like a really real experience. So definitely if that's something you're interested in, a winter internship might be something that you might really benefit from. And again, I'll talk more about that in a minute. And then this one, is there anything that you specifically wish you knew before starting your career? So like as a student, or what you wish you could tell yourself, you know, things like that.
I would say I wish I knew more Excel shortcuts and I was better at formulas because it definitely saves a lot of time. But since October, I've learned a lot and how to navigate Excel better. I have wonderful seniors and managers that are willing to put in the time and teach me. So if anything, make sure you know your shortcuts and formulas.
That's such good advice.
Yeah, I fully agree with Excel and also on other types of technology such as Power BI is also been pretty useful. Alteryx, uh, we actually just got all associates who actually just completed training with Alteryx, which is pretty much the way I see it, it's like Excel on steroids. It, but yeah,
Yeah.
like be well rounded with technology and it's gonna help you a lot.
Yeah, that's definitely good advice. I know at Rutgers, Newark, like we didn't have like an Excel class. I think one of my campuses, it might be Montclair, I forget. One of them has like an Excel course, which I think is really cool. But I know I didn't have that and totally agreed. It would be good to know at least just like some of them, right? You don't need to be a wizard yet. You know, you're gonna use it, Excel especially, as you go through your career, but to know like the basics can definitely be really helpful. And honestly can be impressive as an intern as well. Like if you can come in and you like know kind of what a VLOOKUP is, I feel like people will be impressed by that. So cool. Love that. All right. So we are pretty much good on time here. So I do have the check-in code up again. If anybody missed it, if anybody wants to scan it to check in. But again, that link is in the chat. But I want to open it to any Q&A. So whoever, anybody here on the line, like, you know, or in the chat, I have the chat open. Any questions? Yeah, Gloria.
Hi, hello. First, I want to thank you all for coming. It was really nice hearing about your experience with KPMG. It's always great to hear about KPMG. And I'm actually interning in audit in the Short Hills office in New Jersey this winter.
Yeah.
So I'm really looking forward to that experience. And it was definitely helpful hearing from all of you guys. So I'm really excited for that. And my question would be, what would you say are some specific qualities or actions that the audit interns are exhibiting that will make them stand out during the internship? And what are some key factors that the hiring managers are prioritizing when they consider some of the interns from full-time positions at KPMG?
Yeah. I'll talk about the second part of that question, but I'll open it to Lauren and Bart first. If you have any comments of like what you maybe feedback you got during your internship or something that was like good feedback of things you were doing. Or if you've been on teams that have interns over the past couple of seasons, what you might have seen from like
Yes,
6
sure.
months.
Feel free to share. I will be glad to hear.
For me, I believe that just being present, asking questions, taking notes, goes a long way. It's better to ask questions and do something once, but it's right, instead of doing something and then it's wrong, right? So don't be afraid to ask questions. And we're all here to answer the questions. It's not that, oh yeah, I'm afraid to ask my senior for something. On the first team that I was assigned to, we didn't have a senior. It was just me and the senior manager, and I had to learn that asking questions directly to the senior manager. So which it's not comfortable at the beginning, but you get used to it.
That's great. Thank you for sharing that.
I think being in the office and networking and having a presence there is something that really stands out.
That's great too. Thank you so much for sharing that. Appreciate it.
Yeah, I love that. And we do have for all of our professionals, pretty much, we do have like we have a very flexible work schedule when it comes to being in the office, being at home. You know, I'm at home now, but I mean, my schedule is kind of different from client work anyway, because I'm on campus most of the time. But our client work, so like audit and tax, like they're in the office pretty much 3 days a week, I'd say. Bart and Lauren probably about that. Usually Mondays and Fridays, nobody's in. Some people choose to work on like a Friday instead though, because traffic is a little bit better. But we are not in the office 100%. But definitely on those days that your team is in, for you to be there too, like that is that goes a long way. And it goes a long way for both you making like connection with them, but also just learning by listening to like what's going on around you. That there's a lot that comes from that, from just listening to the way that people talk to each other. What questions do they ask each other? That definitely goes a long way. And definitely from Bart's point of just like being present, asking questions, that really at the end of the internship, like most of our interns end up getting offers. The majority, most of the time you have to really do something wrong to not get an offer at the end of it. But definitely like the interns that are really successful are the ones that are really communicative, right? They are presently there. They do show up whenever their client or their teams are getting together. They are there as well. Definitely attending intern events too. A lot of the intern events that we host as a recruiting team, like they might be optional, but like going to them is great. You make more connections that way for yourself, meeting your other interns, and then hopefully you
Love
start.
content those too.
Yeah.
So much for sharing. Yeah.
Yeah. So definitely goes a long way, all that communication and all of that.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Any other questions? Now is the time to ask. Anyone in Metro? Anybody?
And
Anyone?
I have another question too. I would say, what advice would you all give to interns in general, or in my case, I will be an audit intern, to maximize their internship experience and leave that lasting positive impression on the team they work on and the supervisors? I believe, yeah, like you said, it will be like getting involved, like you said, on different events. But is there anything else you would want to add, maybe?
I would say be receptive to feedback. Like it all kind of goes along with communication and stuff, but sometimes you might get a note of like, you know, how to improve yourself. Take that note, because by the time we see like your next feedback review, if we see that you specifically worked on one thing that you got from the last thing, or, you know, the last feedback review you got and you improved on it, that is showing that you are putting in the work and you're listening to feedback that you get. Nothing is to like critique you or be mean or anything like that. Like even if it seems negative, it's all constructive. A lot of my feedback was always, you know, was actually get better at technology. So funny that is what was mentioned before by Bart and Lauren. But you know, if you do get some kind of feedback, be receptive to that and really try to specifically work on improving those things that you might get feedback about.
That's great. I definitely agree. Thank you so much.
Yeah, of course.
It was really nice to meet all of you guys and hearing your experience.
Yeah. Thanks for
I'm
having
looking
us.
forward to working with all of you in the
Yeah,
winter.
I'm excited to have you, Gloria.
Anybody else have any other questions? Once, twice, thrice. Okay.
Cool.
Thank you so much, Amy, for coming to speak to us today.
Yeah, and I'll share one more slide just on timeline, because I know it's probably a question that most of you have, and I'll send an email. Like I said, if everybody checks in with that link, that code that I had on the screen, then I will send an email. I'll send it maybe Friday, because tomorrow I'm on campus all day, so I probably won't have access to my computer. But Friday. So by Friday, anybody who checks in with that code, I'll send an email out. It will have links to our website, where all of our applications are. So just timeline wise, you're eligible for an internship with KPMG the year before you graduate. For accounting majors, it's the year before 150 credits if you're pursuing the CPA. So that meaning, so if you are graduating with 150 credits, or just your final graduation is say May of 2027, then you are eligible for our 2026 internships, both winter and summer. So you wouldn't yet be eligible for like a 2025 internship. So it is based on that graduation date of where you fall. So always think about that when you're might be eligible. Before then, you probably won't be eligible. And then we recruit for those at least a year in advance. When it comes to accounting internships, we actually start recruiting for those 2 years in advance. So if you are an accounting major and you are graduating with 150 credits in either December of 2026 or May of 2027, then you'll be eligible for our 2026 internship programs, which we are starting to recruit for. Actually, the applications open tomorrow. So a lot of numbers to remember. Again, I'll send an email, I'll have reminders. Tomorrow, the applications for 2026 internships for audit and tax will start opening. They open throughout the day. Sometimes there's a bit of a lag. So like by the end of the day tomorrow and by Friday is when you'll probably see everything up. So that is 2026 internships that we'll be looking for. So if you do fall in that 2027 graduation timeframe and you're an accounting major, definitely look at those and see if there's one that you want to apply to. And then other than that, if you are graduating the year before and you're looking for a 2025 internship, we will be opening also tomorrow any additional 2025 internships we might have. I will say for audit and tax, our summer 2025 internship is currently at capacity. So we do not have summer audit and tax internships left remaining, but we do have winter 2025 internships left remaining. So if you are interested in winter and you're a 2026 grad, we do have some of those available. But if you're not an accounting major and you're graduating in 2026 and you're looking for an internship for next year, any of those we might have available will open tomorrow. So we will have some technology. There might be some finance that open. I will say finance and IT are probably more minimal right now. But whatever we do have will be posted by like the end of the day tomorrow, by Friday as well on our website. So it's just general timeline for internships. If you're graduating, we also are opening any additional 2025 full-time roles that we have will be opening tomorrow. Basically everything will be opening by tomorrow. So there are some tax things posted on our website now. Some 2025 tax positions started opening in August. So you can check the website now to see if there's anything that you're interested in. And then besides that, we have a bunch of other things going on. So as I mentioned before, right, we're not on your campus throughout the semester. We're not at FDU, doing events at the career fair and all of that, but you can still connect with KPMG virtually throughout the entire semester. So we have a national team that runs something called a virtual career series. I will totally link this in that email that I sent to all of you on Friday as well. But you can register for any of those events going on. You could also watch playbacks from any of them. So we did do like a KPMG 101. A lot of that will probably be repeated information that I went through today. But we did that in like August, I think 22nd, but the playback is on that website. So you can see it on there. Anything that might have passed, you can watch a playback, or you can register for anything coming up in the future. We do have one coming up, I think in October, called Standing Out. And that's an opportunity for you to network with the BRGs I was talking about. So different things coming up. You can absolutely be a part of those. Even though we're not on your campus, you can come to our virtual events. So I will link that. And then the Career Catalyst program is like simulated work experience. It's totally self-study. I'll put a link for that as well if you're interested. We have audit, tax, and advisory kind of simulated work experience in the Career Catalyst program that is open to any student as well. So that's some of those. I'll put a link to our career navigator. Kind of, you can put in your information. I'll kind of give you some recommendations of like what might be a good fit for you based on your background. But I'll link that in that email as well. There's going to be a ton of resources in that email. So make sure you check in with the link. Again, I threw it in the chat. So if you wanted to like copy that and send it to everyone and just say, hey, make sure you check in with this before Friday or, by the end of the day tomorrow, then you all get all that information. But our website is called KPMG US Careers, and everything for students is under the Early Careers tab.
All righty. Well, thank you so much, Amy, for coming to speak to us today. Thank you so much. Members, stay behind. We have a couple announcements to make, but thank you so much, KPMG.
Yeah, of course. Thank you all for having us. Thank you, Lauren and Bart, for coming on. Appreciate you both. And yeah, feel free to reach out if you ever need anything.
Thank you.